Present.
Jeff Quigg,
Present.
Rafael Dueñas Senior,
Present.
Elmo Lopez Junior,
Present.
Ana Benavides Galo,
Present.
Ivan Rodriguez,
Present.
Dr. David Garza,
Present.
Teresa Cortez,
Present.
Hector J. Garcia.
Present.
We have one.
We have quorum.
Thank you very much. So we're here today. My name is Rosario Cabello, co-interim city manager, and I thank you very much for saying yes to this committee. I know it's one that is going to be visually looked at, and what we are all wanting is transparency. So I thank you all very much for being part of this committee. We have a couple of things that we want to do house cleaning on. The first thing is to be able to select a chair and a co-chair. The responsibilities of the chairperson is to guide the meeting through, and in the absence of the chair, it would be the co-chair. So do I have any nominations for this?
I nominate Mr. Jerry Schwebel.
Okay. Second. Okay, so there's a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Trouble. We'll take the meeting over now.
She has.
And
I'm sorry.
was Tito as the
Tito?
co-chair included in that motion?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
It was first, so now you take over
Okay.
the meeting, sir.
Okay. So the next nomination would be, place would be for the co-chair of
Vice-
the what? The vice
Vice
chair,
chair.
not the co-chair. Vice chair of the committee. Are there any nominations?
Yes, I nominate Hector Garcia.
Second.
Okay, there's been, motion to name nominate Mr. Hector Tito Garcia, has been seconded by Mr. Garza, I guess. Seconded, okay. Any discussion? None, call for the question. All in favor of Mr. Tito Garcia serving as the vice chair of this committee, please voice your vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Any noes? No, that's by unanimous vote. Congratulations.
Congratulations to both of you.
I hope to have hair like you when this project is, Mr. Garcia. Well, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, the committee, for your nomination of yours truly, and of course, of Mr. Garcia. Now, I look forward to serving with each and every one of you all in this committee. I think we have the selection of these committee members as a good representation of our community. And I'm honored and pleasure to be, working with you all. Look forward to the strong role and the mission that we have in task, the selection of a city manager. This committee will actually be the city manager search ad hoc committee. This is the first meeting that is being held. We have an agenda in place that each and every one of you have before you with a number of items. And I don't know if perhaps prior to going into any committee member would like to make any comments at this time in regards to being part of the committee, or any thoughts that you all may have in regards to the role that each one of us would play.
Mr. Chairman, just to make a point, I understand there's a training on Open Meetings Act that we should be participating in to get a certificate.
Yes.
Can we verify that, please?
Yes, there is, within 90 days of taking office. So we'll provide you with that link, or you can come in and we can provide you the video.
Very good, thank you.
Real quick question. If we're already certified through the school district, we need to get another one?
No, as long as you've taken that,
We've already taken it through
as you have a
as the
certificate.
president of the school board. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions or any comments by any of the committee members? None?
Introduction, background.
Well, I think if by matter of introduction, I guess it's a good, maybe a good point, Mr. Lee, that everyone, especially the guests that are here present, I think it'd be good for each and every one. I think you all have a list of all the committee members, right?
Yes, we
But it'd be good for everybody just to know say who you are.
Sure, I'll start off. First of all, I'd like to thank Councilman for allowing us to serve under their capacity. My name is Jeff Quigg. I'm a civil engineer in Laredo. I've lived and raised here throughout Laredo, here in Laredo. So it's just an honor to be here with the rest of you all.
Thanks. My name is Rafael Dueñas. I'm Mexican custom broker. That's it.
Good. Mr. Lewis?
I'm Elmo Lopez Jr., CEO of Gateway Community Health Center, and I'm honored to be here serving with this committee. Thank you.
My name is Ana Benavides Galo, and I'd like to thank Councilmember Torres for his faith in me. I'm a lifelong Laredoan. I'm a business person, and my business deals mostly with commercial real estate, with oil and gas minerals, and with the ranching industry.
Thank you, Mr.
My name is Ivan Rodriguez. I want to thank Councilwoman Ellie Bialma for selecting me on this committee. I'm retired. I was Director of Sales for Union Pacific Railroad. I spent about 36 years with the company here in Laredo, in St. Louis, Missouri, and Houston. Today, I'm a part-time consultant and love this community and want to see us continue to prosper.
My name is David Gatsa. I'm a family physician and have been practicing in Laredo for 25 years. Just closed my practice to work for Gateway so we could start a family medicine residency program. I'm a second generation Laredo, and my wife is a ninth, so she outclasses me on that area. So, and I want to thank Dr. Marte Martinez for suggesting my name.
My name is Trisha Cortez. I'm Executive Director with the Rio Grande International Studies Center. We are a 25-year-old environmental nonprofit, and our mission is to protect and preserve our only source of drinking water, which is the river and its ecosystem. And I'm grateful that Councilman Altgeld has given me this opportunity to serve with everybody here on this board. I know we've got a huge task ahead of us. Laredo is growing, continues to grow at such a rapid rate. We play a very vital role in trade, not just for Texas, but for the United States. And I think I'm especially interested in this process. I think many Laredoans are too, because of the sort of the transition and upheaval that's happened with our city government, and to try to find somebody who can balance the incredible demands placed on a city manager, somebody who's can manage people, manage politics and special interests, and can be approachable and deal with budgets, and has a vision for the city, and come up with sustainable practices, and who understands the border, understands our culture of us as well. I think this is going to be a very great exercise for all of us to try to choose the best leader possible for this city at this moment in time.
First, I want to thank the Councilman Bali for appointing me. I'm humbled that you all gave me have faith in me as the co-chair. I am the general manager of La Posada Hotel. I'm also the president of the Laredo Independent School District. I've served on the city council for 8 years. I've been through this process once. I've been through the process of replacing the superintendent also, and look forward to working with everybody in our community to get somebody in place that'll lead our community to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Thank you, everyone. I'm Jerry Schwebel. I'm the Executive Vice President with International Bank of Commerce. Everyone's familiar with IBC, headquartered here in Laredo, Texas. And I also will thank the mayor for trusting in me serving in this committee, and I want to thank again the committee for entrusting me to be your chair, and look forward to working with each and every one of you all in this very important role that we are all playing in the selection of our city manager. Of all times, I think this is a very critical time for us to make sure that we all make the best choice possible for our community. So I look forward to working with each and every one of you all, and with anyone who wishes to contribute to the process of helping us make the right and best selection for the next city manager of Laredo, Texas.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to also introduce part of your team as liaisons. With me, next to me, I have Ms. Christy Hale, and you know her very well. Council also selected HR to be part of your committee as far as liaisons. And so I have Ms. Rosie Salinas and Carol Turkettle. You want to raise your hand? Also part of that team is our internal auditor to ensure that all the processes go accordingly. And I have next to me also our purchasing agent, Mr. Mike Pescador.
Well, thank you, Ms. Cabello, and I appreciate the staff and the support that you all provided us and the information you'll be providing us during the course of the weeks to come. And as we go through this whole review process, we look forward to working with you all as well.
Thank you.
We may continue. We now have under item 3, we need to now look at reviewing of the responsibilities that we've been entrusted, the charge that we have. I think it's in the packet.
Yes, so in front of you, you have a packet that will remain here internally for now. And so it's the second portion of it, after the agenda, and it's an overview of the committee. There is a full disclosure in it, but I wanted to make sure that you all knew what our role was. And so basically, there's some information on our charter as to the qualifications of our city manager. We'll be going over those in a while. Ms. Hale will be providing those. We also, the next step that we did was we wanted to be transparent and hire a recruitment firm. And so we went out for RFPs. We have a date for that, where we went out for RFPs, and I'll show you those dates later. And your role is to select, initially, was to select the recruitment company that would be looking for a city manager. And the normal process that does occur in most cities. There's another option to go directly and say, this is the recruiter I want. But in order to be transparent, we wanted to make sure that you all had the options to do that. So we did go out for an RFP, and I'll give you the results of that in a bit. Prior to that, I wanted to tell you all about attendance. You have 3 either excused or unexcused absences that after that, then you're not, you may be
Automatically forfeit.
forfeit your position. The meeting should start 20 minutes before the actual time, and if not, then we can also, after. If not, it should be postponed or canceled after that.
So it doesn't hurt to come in 20 minutes before the meeting starts.
It does not, no, that's true. Thank you very much for helping me out. After that, we also do need to follow our ethics procedures and to ensure that we all comply with that. I'm not sure if you want to add anything else?
I think we pretty much covered.
Okay. And if you have any questions, our legal department is available for you.
Thank you, Ms. Calais. In addition to that, we also have some minimum requirements and desired qualifications of the city manager that I think are also included in this particular packet as well, or is that?
Right. It's following our chronology, and I wanted to give you all some information, if you allow me, before I continue with the other. And so I know that we've been tasked with responsibility and want to make sure that we do everything correctly. So the first thing that occurred back in February the 1st, council made a motion to create this committee and to be able to select each one of you. So they called upon you, each one of you came to city secretaries. The last person that was actually appointed was back in March 2018, was the last person. In between that, we went out, we decided to go out for RFPs for a recruitment company. We advertised in the newspaper March 12th and March 19th. We sent out over 160 invites, okay? And we have an internet link called City Bids for people to be able to apply electronically. So 138 internal invites were done, personally done, mailed out. 20 external, specifically in HR. And then we did 2 additional phone requests for people to come and apply for this particular request of recruitment. And so after that, on April the 2nd, the RFP closed. I want to be able to allow to tell you and maybe skip around that no one applied. What? After this information was done. We do have information on what some of the reasons were on some of the top companies that we knew of, and we'll go over that as we move further along in the agenda, unless you want to move it up. However, I wanted to make sure, yes.
Can you repeat that? You say none of the recruitment companies?
No one
Applied?
submitted.
But you're gonna tell us some reasons that were given,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I know. It was very, very disheartening to find out that after all our efforts were done, and I wanted to show you that we did advertise in the newspaper and that did submit to 160, and I have Mr. Mike Pescador here, if you have any questions for him on the process.
Do you have any thoughts on that, on what you suspect might be the reason?
Well, I may suspect a lot, but a lot of the questions, a lot of the responses to us were they were attending to other needs of other cities, also seeking for city management positions, and they did not want to commit. Since then, I requested for staff to go ahead and call them personally and find out. About 3 of them have said, yes, we're interested, and I have some recommendations for you on how we can proceed, or we can go again through the whole process. But we'll get to that as you decide to talk about that.
So in the qualifications that are being provided
Yes, sir.
to the search firms that are in this packet right here.
The qualifications have not been submitted to any search firm. So what we did is we did an RFP, request for proposal, and we said, we're looking for a recruitment company to come into the city of Laredo and to search for the next city manager. That's what we did.
Okay,
And so the qualifications is something that we want to talk about with you right now and be able to proceed further so that once we have the firm, we say, this is what we're looking for, go out and look for it.
I understand, I just understand, I just wanted, my question was more directed, obviously, there's been no dialogue, there's no discussion with even those that have not wanted to submit. And we don't know if perhaps, as a result of their wanting to submit an RFP, if perhaps within the qualification is something they may feel that may or may not,
So we did
be
have a dialogue.
adequate, or maybe 2.
We did have a dialogue with about 5 or 6 of them after the request was closed. We're not allowed to contact them prior to or during, but we were allowed to do it afterwards by law. So we did call them and seek out to them and ask them for their responses of why they did not bid.
You want to bring up the item?
Would you like to bring up the item and so that we can discuss it further?
Yes, of course. I think it's appropriate, because I think it's appropriate that we have some discussion about this.
Can we move?
So-
Yes.
Motion to bring up, motion to bring up E.
Item E has been made. Motion to bring up item E has been seconded by Mrs. Benavides. Ms. Benavides, Galo. Okay.
In your packet, sir, you will see something like this.
Protocol.
Well, let's go ahead, let's call for the vote.
Yeah.
Motion's been made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you. For addressing item,
So you will see a table of various, 1, 2, 3.
we're addressing item E, right?
Yes, we're.
Okay, and it's in the packet as that spreadsheet.
It's towards the back, second to the last in the back. And since it closed and we were able to open up our bids the following day, staff has contacted about 7 firms, one of them being the top, the ones in the red that we know. We belong to a Texas City Managers Association, and they have recommended a listing for us, which we have in front of you also, a sheet like this. And so Texas, it's online, and these are some of the names that they've recommended, and these are the names that we did request for them to submit.
And Mrs.
There
Cadillo,
are many other ones, yes.
have we ever worked with any of these before?
The only one we have worked with is Mercer Group, and we did that for the police chief. That was the last time we
I'm sorry, which group was that?
Mercer, on the second page,
You said for the police chief?
for the police chief, back when Mr. Chief Maldonado was hired. That was the
Rosario,
last-
was there a specific list of services that we were requesting? Because it identifies, a couple of them said, we can't provide these services, we can't provide these services. What was the specific list that we were asking of them?
Purchasing agent.
So Miguel Pescado for the record. When we put out the request for proposals, we did target, if you will, the commodity for professional services, more specifically for consulting firms. So when we put out the RFP, the system automatically will match, if you will, any of the existing suppliers that register on our electronic bidding system. And so those were automatically emailed an invite, plus the list that Ms. Cabello just referenced, the 20 external invites, we call them, because they're not members of our city bid, but we included them to invite them into, submitting a proposal to us. But the main commodity or service we were looking for was professional services in the consulting services field. And that's what we went out then. We sent out 160 total invites.
A quick question, the timeline, was it enough time to actually go out there? Was it a quick with a quick turnaround, because you see in a quick turnaround, people don't apply unless they get you more information prior to it. So what's the standard of
We
going
offered over
out?
three weeks worth of information, and let me tell you, the terms that we requested. And so we requested a firm that is interested to provide the city manager recruitment services. It is intent for the city to enter into a service agreement with them for the purposes of, I'm sorry, I thought I had it. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the scope, I'm sorry.
Well, there was a timeline here, if you all have it, because we requested on 3/11 is when you started the
Yeah,
posting.
the three-week term is not a normal, it's a short period of time.
It simply depends on the scope of work that we were asking them to provide, and that's.
Well, I may also add that, you know, this month of March was spring break. A lot of folks really, you know, took off and were shut down. So I think it's something that we also keep in mind. And my question would also be, have we gone back, Texas City Managers Association, and asked them, is this norm? Is this the right timing, or is this the proper timing? All these questions about the process of, you know, did we have a discussion with them?
For headhunters, if we want to call them that, they're very eager to be able to come on board. That is their livelihood. And so normally, what we get consultants, they jump on the issue right away. The issue that is occurring right now is there is a lot of need for city managers statewide and nationwide that are being looked at. And so some of the responses, if you'll see there, is that they're already committed to other entities and they wanted to be able to devote their time to them. And so they did realize that they did see it. It's a simple application for them to us. It's not a lengthy qualification to say, yes, they do this all the time. It's not something that they're going to reinvent the wheel on. And so it's a very quick turnaround for them to be able to get information, and it is plenty of time for us to do that. But we do have some recommendations for you and how to proceed, if you wish to hear them.
Yes.
Okay, so council requested, gave us the authority, city managers, the authority to be able to contract out, provided that it's under $50,000. If it's over $50,000, we have to go out and take it back to council for approval. Prior to this, prior to us wanting to go through this whole process, Human Resources and myself sat down and we evaluated a lot of the different names that TML had provided. We had shortlisted it. Those are in red. If you wish to look at those and only those, we can go ahead and start looking at that and directly try to hire within the time frame. If not, then we can go back again and do a rebid. So that's totally up to you, and we're open for discussion on this.
What was the reason to shortlist them? What stood out on these three firms?
Okay, to me, and if you look at this, I'd like to give you another packet if you're open to that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
In addition to these companies being available, the one that to me personally stood out, and I'm not wanting to gear you in one way or another, is the most expensive one, Ralph Anderson Associates. The reason it stood out to me personally, and you can ask Human Resources, they'll give you a different answer, is their methodology for attracting candidates. So they send out magazines, they send out pamphlets, they send out emails. They're constantly looking through different cities, and the quality of their work stood out to me as far as the different sources that they had and the different networking venues that they did have. However, when we initially contacted them before all this process, they were asking for $42,000. Now, since then, we've contacted them and they want $48,500. Their price has increased. FYI.
Supply and demand.
Staff and
And
management
Ms. Cabello,
consultants.
sorry, does that fee include expenses or does not?
This one, there's additional fees for travel, I believe, on this one.
So the
There's
42,
backup documentation on that. I'll give you some time to look at this. What they're saying, their estimate time frame to return back really good candidates to us is 120 days. There's an attachment.
Ms. Cabello,
850 was a fixed fee, including the.
Oh, it's a fixed fee, I'm sorry. So I correct myself, 48,005 is a fixed fee, including everything. Thank you.
I have a question. The first thing that strikes me as I read this packet,
Yes.
and the first letter there from Ralph Anderson Associates, is that it's dated February the 7th. But it says here that the RFPs went out on
Yes,
3/11.
yes. No. Is that a typo? I'm thinking that's a typo, it's 3-1?
The chronology that I have here says 3/11/2019 RFP posted to obtain bids for a search firm, the city manager recruitment. Okay.
Oh, we contact them afterwards on,
Prior.
prior?
We, for the record, Carol Thurkettle, prior to the actual process starting, when HR was advised about the city manager retiring, we took the initiative to contacting everyone from the TCMA website just to inquire on information from their services, like what type of services you provide, an estimated time frame, and an estimated cost. No proposals, it's just give us a little bit of background so that we can prepare to bring something forward to council. So some of these companies, which Anderson was one of them, they provided this sort of proposal over to us. That's why the date is stated in February.
So they took it upon themselves, their proactive measure prior to receiving any RFPs.
I'm sorry.
They took it up- So certain firms, knowing that there's a city manager has resigned, they'll go out there and
Oh,
took it upon
yes.
themselves to submit their,
Yeah, they're
Yes.
proactive, they already have something in place.
And that's
to
why I'm
kind of
saying there's
send
plenty
out.
of time because they're really headhunters. They're looking out for things like
and
this.
just for the purpose of the committee, for, I guess it's important that as we review all of these points, that we don't leave any room for any criticism into the process, because, I just want to make sure that we're all in sync, that there has to be a process everyone needs to go through, so there won't be any room for anyone to say,
Yes.
well, that person or that group should be disqualified because they did not fall in line with everybody else's procedures. Doctor?
I'm confused. So you sent out a query to some of the firms that would normally provide these services. Ralph Anderson responded on February 7th and says, here we are, this is what we can do for you.
Yes.
Yet they didn't submit.
Correct, correct.
Interesting.
And the response was, their workload. Because they started working on some other areas, and so they figured that they couldn't commit at the time. Since then, we've called them again, they're saying, now we're interested, but it's gonna cost you a little bit more.
It was 42.8, now it's 40,
48.5
okay. And 50s are ceiling?
are ceiling for now. And it's only for now, because if you all see that there's someone who's better than they are, then we can come back to council and ask for permission to spend more money.
So at this point, you all are making a recommendation to us that you all have reviewed the three firms and
And-
each of them feel they're qualified.
They're all qualified.
And-
I don't think you'd be making a mistake with any of them.
But you feel that this first one has a better track record, they do better tracking, better methodology, and the quality of the work is superior to the other two?
Well, may I explain the other two?
Sure.
So that you'll, because
That's what I was gonna
I want
ask
to
you,
make
that,
sure.
the one from Texas, being that they're in Texas, it's a shorter distance, they know the area than somebody coming in from California with travel and all that, be more expensive than somebody who knows the terrain of
Right.
Texas.
So there's pros and cons to all of them.
Right.
The second one, for example, Slevin, they are currently working on the Corpus City manager recruitment. So that is why they initially didn't respond. Now they're saying, now, I'm not sure if you kept up with Corpus, but they're maybe looking at the semifinals right now, and they're in the top 4 or 5 applicants. So now they're saying, we have a little bit more time. We didn't think it was gonna go as fast as we could, and now we're available to assist you now also. And the third one is strategic government resources. They take up to a little bit over 100 days to be able to find you appropriate candidates. And they're also out of Keller, Texas. There's been good recommendations on them also. So none of them that you would try to select, unless you want to go with a large list and start all over again, that's totally up to you.
Ms. Cortez, you have a question?
I just wanted to ask, Chairman, so, and Mrs. Cabello, the way it works and sort of our role is, will they be meeting with us? Will we be coming up with collectively what we are wanting out of the next city manager and our role in terms of working with this headhunter.
Well, I think from my personal view, is definitely, I definitely welcome everyone's own personal ideas of what they would like to seek within the city manager, above and beyond the basic qualifications. The idea is that we've got the experience, obviously, we've been selected task because of some experience that we've had, you know, in our own lives, but I think it's important that, yes, we do get everyone's thoughts about this.
And we task them
Yes.
to it, sir. We would task them whatever you all decide, this is what we say, this is the direction we want to take, and they'll run with it.
And if I go one step further to say that I think I'd like to talk about that process as well as to what I'd like to ask, or, you know, and have some ideas, maybe you all have some ideas as well, as to how we get that input, or we can submit our input, or each and every one of us.
Ms. Cabello, is price a consideration, is cost a consideration? Do we have to look at that also?
To make a selection for consultant, if you're looking at the finance side of me, I would always say, yes, cost is one. But for such an important position, I would say that we would be able to work with it, definitely.
So all these three meet the criteria?
Oh, yes, they do.
And it's just now a matter of us making that decision, whether it's costlier or not, then,
I think that you should go based on qualifications and experience. You have some information here, and if you'd like to take some time to look at it here now and review it, we've narrowed it down for 3 for you. However, if you don't feel comfortable with our recommendation, certainly we can come back at another meeting and look at the larger list.
Right. Okay, I would like to, you know, in the interest, I know we all have, you know, there's a time element here, but I think it's important that we make the right choice. As a result of I guess, of the period of time, I would like the committee to consider perhaps extending the period of the submission of these RFPs for another week or two, see if we get any other input, because I think the timeliness of having sent that out may have, you know, may have, or may not have, but I just would like to welcome your thoughts.
Then we
Any
start
thoughts
all
about
over
that?
again, and we do a month worth of putting it out. Because we can't just do it for,
I understand. We'd set up a timetable.
I would propose a motion to table E, to give it more time to read, do some research, and if there's any other firms, to get that prior to the meeting. So when we actually show up to the meeting, we have a concept of everybody, and we've done some research on our own to see where everybody's at.
Yeah.
And bring it back in 2 weeks like you want to do anyway. You know what, besides the nominate, what we're recommending, but let us do some work on our own to see what we read, what they send us, so we have a better understanding on what we're voting on than making a decision right away. So that's my motion, to table it to 2 weeks from now.
I agree.
Give you enough time to get out, get some more, if we have, get that information to us
Yeah.
prior to the meeting, so we're well,
I need
versed on it.
clarification. though.
yes,
Do you
just
want it
clarification to
based
the
on-
staff. Do they do 138 searches again?
Yes.
Or do they stand by until we come back in 2 weeks?
That's my question.
What is it?
I would say that just put it out there again, to see who else you can get, who you can recruit, because I know you can recruit.
So not
and you
a
can do-
formal
Right.
RFP, right? Not a formal RFP.
No, because you still have to go back and to do the.
But you want them to send out a phone call, or?
I would say, do whatever
That's
legally
something-
you could do.
Okay, so if we're gonna go this route, we should do this format. And if not, then we have some in front of you. Because if we're gonna go ahead and do that, we're not gonna do any research, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for everything to come in, have hopefully some companies submitting information, and then thereafter, we can give you the information of who submitted for your research. We didn't think it was gonna turn out this way, we're not gonna receive any.
But it might be better if you just follow up on what you have already, see who else you can follow up on to bring in. That'll give you about 2 weeks, so you can actually add to the list, so it's just not a list of 3. Maybe you get some more people that are interested in it.
Well, these people
Right.
didn't come in, nothing came in. We just went back and we said, this is.
Right.
Based on this evaluation of what TML has, we went one by one and we started saying, let's do our research. We did. So then that means you all want research on all these? I'm just wanting to clarify.
And we need to set some parameters.
We'll go back to your motion. Your motion is to table E.
All right, now, it's just a table that we can make a motion, vote on to table it, and then give them instruction what to bring back to us. I just think we need more time to.
Okay, so your motion is to table E.
We need a second for
Table
discussion.
E,
We need a second for discussion.
Yes, I know. I'm just saying, I'm just want to clarify. Your motion is to table E to have
Right.
further discussion.
right.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Cortez seconds it, okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, all right. So now, right now, we're asking to table E so we can go back for discussion purposes of the process of how we go about doing it, you know.
And Mrs. Cabello, so one recommendation also is to do the RFP again for, say, 4 weeks or, I don't know, some kind of time period so that it's done formally and see if we get different results, right?
Yes. That's one option.
Or the other option, as Mr. Garcia said, is just make follow-up phone calls with some of these people
And
and,
see who's interested.
Right.
And then provide your packet.
right.
That's another option.
Mhm.
And then the third option is, well, see, some of these people aren't interested, so there's only two options.
May I recommend that we look at maybe adding 2 more to this list based on an informal inquiry? Because if not, we're just, again, spinning our wheels, and I think there is some sense of urgency to start looking at candidates that any one of these 3 or 5 firms might be able to provide.
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion then. I agree with you on that.
We need to vote on the
Let's,
first.
right now, we're having a discussion right now. The point, I guess, before we get into that, that's
If I
what we're having a
may-
discussion right now.
If I may add, just for your consideration, if we do a formal, we do have to follow state statute. Minimum requirements is 14 days, and we do have to publicize twice in the local newspaper before we take any type of action from there. So on the 15th day, we can open, we can have a meeting, and we can decide. After that, that's the formality. And in case, that's why we did a minimum of 22 days in this case to not only meet, but surpass, what state law requires. So just to give you that, but if we go in an informal request for proposals, and it is under 50,000, then we're okay to proceed, even within the next few days or a week, whatever the committee
Okay,
decides.
so there's a formal and an informal
Yes.
Right.
in place right now.
Because it's under 50, that's.
And the
Right.
threshold is
Right.
50,000,
But
correct?
in the formal, there's a time period of, at least minimum time period for notification.
Yes.
And on the informal, you don't have basically a phone call kind of reminder, okay? I just want to make sure everybody understands that, okay? So.
My
go ahead.
comment or my question, Ms. Cabello, is in your experience, all the years you've been here, when you go back and try to find more firms, do you usually get more? Or or should we just focus on the 3 that you've narrowed down? I feel a sense of urgency that our city is without a city manager. And if your experience through all these years, going either formally, informally, does it really, bring back any other results of more candidates that would be,
I'll
better?
make a recommendation to you, because this is a very important committee. It's a very important committee who is seeking transparency. I would take the formal route to ensure that there's no questions asked.
Okay.
Because at that point, staff recommended 3, what's in it for them, what's in it for the committee? I would really strongly recommend the formal process, but again, it's up to you.
Well, then I will move that we proceed with a formal process so that we
Well,
can
there's-
have the
there's
utmost
still a motion on the table.
transparency.
No,
There's a motion to table.
On the motion the motion I have to table.
Would you want to
with-
amend your
With that added that we look formally out again. We said we're gonna bring back in 2 or 3 weeks anyway, and like Mr. Lopez said, we wanted to come back with at least 2 or 3 more, but get the information prior to the meeting, so we have the information, so we can look at it before coming here and making a vote on it.
That's- But your motion was already passed, that's why we're having this discussion, so we would be a new motion that would have to be made, and Ms. Benavides has the floor right now.
Well, my motion is to proceed with the formal process and resubmit to see if we have more candidates and for you to give us that information with enough time to review it before we get to our next.
Second that.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
May I have the correction on how many weeks or days would you like us to have
In
posted?
your motion, would you like to state a specific date?
Well, I guess you
I mean,
can
the
guide me
timeline.
on how long will the formal process to do it
The
correctly?
formal process is in place right now, that you said it requires 14 days, and that ends up being 22 days?
Correct. No, the formal process should be a minimum of 14 days. with 2 advertisements within 7 days of each other.
And then how much time would you need to review everything to
What are you looking at?
bring back
Okay,
the
so then,
recommendations?
once, let's say we have 3 weeks again. And so then we receive the bids, let's say on the 1st. We don't open that same day, we open on the 2nd. We ensure that all the criteria is there, that they haven't left anything blank, because if not, there's disqualifications on it. That's purchasing's duties, and internal audit will review that they do the right thing there. And then thereafter, we can set a meeting anytime thereafter that. So it will take, this time it took us 3 days. It was a really quick turnaround after we received bids.
All right. And
Wait,
Ms.
so-
Cortez?
Mr. Chairman, so Rosario, y'all, or Ms. Gavio, I'm sorry, y'all did 3 weeks, 3 weeks last time,
Yes.
but there maybe was the issue of spring break and just the timing. Is 3 weeks sufficient, would you say, to do the RFP?
So
Is
since
3
we
weeks
already
a
have
good
it
amount of
created-
time?
Since we already have it created, it wouldn't be a matter of just posting the newspaper twice. So what would be the earliest, Mike, that we could?
So I think if we keep to the scope that we had the last time, we probably could put it out, I'm thinking by next week, Thursday, the latest.
Which be the
And
25th?
give it 3 weeks from there.
No, what is it? 18th?
That's the 11th. Next
I
week,
believe that
next Thursday's the
that'd be
11th.
adequate, I think. If we published it within a week and then we added 3 weeks to allow them to respond, I think that would be adequate.
So is 4 weeks sufficient?
You know, Colin? Ms. Cortez?
I'd just like to comment that I think all of us feel a sense of urgency, but the city's running okay.
Yes.
We've got 2 folks that are doing a good job. Some major decisions have been made while they've been in office. I too feel that, geez, we need to hurry, but this is big. This is a big, big, big decision. Our city has a lot of potential, and that potential has not been tapped like it should in the past. We have an opportunity here to bring in someone that can show us or help us tap into that additional potential for increased prosperity. This is a big decision. If it takes another 3 weeks, another 30 days, the ship is sailing okay right now. I think we need to be very careful and not rush this thing for a reason that Ms. Cabello brought up that I hadn't even thought about. People are going to question, what were the motives? Why did you have to do it so quick? People are never satisfied. People are never satisfied. We don't need to give them reasons to suspect anything. We're charged with a big responsibility. Let's work at it like we realize the big responsibility that it is, But I too, boy, if we could have a guy tomorrow or a girl tomorrow, a woman, man, that's great. But this is a big decision, and that's just my.
I agree.
Is 30 days a good amount of time?
If you want to open.
That's good.
It's good. So then we would come back March the 3rd, open bids
May.
on March, no,
May.
receive.
May the
May,
3rd.
sorry.
May.
Receive May the 3rd, open on the 6th,
Right. The next.
and then anytime thereafter, whenever you all can meet, that would be another set
Oh,
meeting.
Quez, I just have a question, and I guess it would fall within the scope of the motion. We have right now, obviously 3 firms here,
Yes.
even though that they have or have not, remind me again, they have or have not submitted RFPs?
They have not.
They have not, okay.
They have not.
So it doesn't impact them, so no one submitted formal RFPs?
No.
Okay, that clarifies, because I was gonna say that in case the RFPs have been submitted within that period of time,
Yeah.
then would we have allowed them to be also considered for the second round of RFPs?
Right.
But since they've not submitted any RFPs, it doesn't apply to them. Thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
agree with Mrs. Galo. We just need a little bit of time to read whoever comes through, so we make a more informed decision.
Absolutely.
When we come back.
So in the motion that you made, instead of 4 weeks or 30 days, if you go back, a motion with 30 days, you took 3 to 4 weeks, they said 30 days, I think 30 days is more than enough. You want-
Your motion is to follow the formal process,
Yes,
basically,
and they
right?
asked for a time frame. So
And-
Timeframe is 30 days.
so if
Okay.
every- if
So
everyone
amend the
agrees
motion
with
to
the
30 days, I second that,
So you want to amend your motion
Yes.
to up to 30 days, and the second accepts that?
I second that.
It's accepted by the second. Okay, call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
So just as a point of information, we'll receive the bids that day, 30 days. Thereafter, we will open the bids. Thereafter, we will review them to ensure that they qualify as far as there's nothing blank left as far as city requirements is concerned. Internal audit will verify. Thereafter, then we set a meeting. If you'd like to set it now, we can go ahead and set that meeting at that point, at this point.
That would put us, Rosario, more or less around May 15th to the 17th.
May 15th and any time thereafter. We're at your disposal.
Okay.
Okay. And Mr. Chair, just for the record, for those that are viewing, this is the firm that is going to go out and look and recruit the candidates that will then in turn come back to this committee so that we can review and make our recommendation.
That's correct. That's correct.
Thank you.
Very well, let's continue with item F now. And that is discussion of possible action scheduling regular meeting dates and attendance policy. By ordinance, we've already been told that if you failed to attend 3 meetings,
Mr. Chair,
you'll no longer be able to
it's
serve.
C.
Pardon me?
We jumped to E, we need to go back to C. So we made a motion to bring up E. We need to go back to C.
Made a motion, to table E.
Right? So the next one is C.
So the next one is C.
Yeah, we got ahead of ourselves.
Mr. Chair, did you vote on the
True,
item?
that's true. Thank you very much.
Anna made it first, Ms. Gaylor made it first. There was a second by
Mr. Garcia.
but there was not a vote. Oh, there was no vote.
Yeah, we did vote.
Yeah, we voted.
On the one to table, you did. but then
And the
following-
second motion was a formal process. It was made by Mrs. Benavides Galo. It was seconded by Mrs. Cortez. We asked for a vote. Unanimous vote. Let's call for the vote again if you wish. Okay, the motion's been made by Mrs. Benavides Galo to enter the formal process and the limitation of more than 30 days. It was seconded by Ms. Cortez. And all in favor?
It was seconded.
We already
By
voted.
Mr. Rosales.
Seconded
By Mr. Garcia.
Oh, by Mr. Garcia. I'm sorry, Mr. Garcia. And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carries.
Okay, let's continue then. We have item C, the request of the requirements that have been given to us as well, which is a job, that's what actually the RFPs will be also getting.
Mr. Chair, the Article 3 of the Charter provides essentially 3 basic minimum requirements, and that's a bachelor's degree, no less than 7 years' experience in municipal government, and 5 years of supervisory managerial experience, also under the municipal government. Aside from those, it would be up to this committee to decide if there's preferred additional requirements that you're looking for. And just like you were discussing before, perhaps each of you can provide your input at this time, or maybe gather those thoughts and bring them back at a later meeting.
Well, I think given that most of us have seen this for the first time, I think I would recommend that we give us an opportunity for at least to review
We'll
this,
bring this item back.
you know, and provide our thoughts, input, and ideas. And I think that we should, you know, we can get those in within a week. Would that be
We have
appropriate?
time, sir, because once we hire the recruitment firm, that's when we provide them the responsibilities and the qualifications, so we still have time from here to whenever we do hire someone.
Ms. Cortez?
I wanted to ask Mrs. Cabello, does it exist out there, like accreditations to be a city manager? Is that inside of this document?
Yes,
It is.
there are some accreditations that are available to a Texas, to a city manager. And so we did list some of them for your information. Let's see. ICMA, which is the International City Manager Association, is desirable. We put as a recommendation. And we also put as a recommendation a master's degree in public administration is preferred.
Okay, I see, page 3.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Cabello, the charter specifies no less than 7 years, and then in the invitation application, it went to 10. So are we saying 10 instead of 7?
We were saying 10, but that is our recommendation to you. You
Okay.
certainly can do something less. based, as long as we stay with charter.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to table item C to give us an opportunity to review and come back at a later date,
Okay, any date specific?
next meeting.
Okay.
Next
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Dr. Garcia. Motion's been made that we allow another additional week for the committee to review the qualifications that have been submitted as it relates to the charter. Plus any other comments that we wish to submit
Mr.
together?
Chairman, that meeting can be before,
You can submit it before if you want to get your thoughts, but for the purposes of at least giving us a week
yes.
to submit it. You know, you can submit it tomorrow if you wish, submit it today if you wish, but at least give the committee members at least a week to come back and submit that. Is that correct, your motion? Is that what I understand?
Yes, I'll go ahead and amend my motion to allow for 1 week.
So the motion's been made. Second by Mr. Garcia. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I just had a question.
Well, we just made the motion.
Okay, sorry.
Okay,
You
so,
can have discussion.
well,
Motion, second discussion.
we'll have the discussion after the second. Once we pass the motion, then we can't discuss it, right? So, but is it related to a new motion that you wanted, or is it relates to this particular
I was
motion that's made?
So going on what Mr. Puig said, to give all of us a week to review and add anything else that we believe should be in here. But then at what point do we review and make sure we're all on the same page before the city?
That'll be committee work. Basically, that'll be the committee work that we'll be doing
Okay.
as we get these. We know the basic, by ordinance, the requirements. We know what's submitted here in this job description. We will know what committee members would like to see it also included, and as part of the discussion to make us reach the best decision possible.
Typically,
Makes sense?
we would bring in our own comments within a week, provide them to the city, then the city would add those into the list, and they'd put the item back on the agenda, and then we would have time to review all of the modifications that we were suggesting, and then we'd also have an open discussion and then vote on it at that time.
That's fine.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Gabriel, could y'all do that with track changes, just so we?
Actually, we'll do, if allowed to, we'll put all the recommendations by name and the sections, and then provide it to you so that we can check mark it and then put it into a final document. Instead of tracking it here on the document, which may be a little bit confusing, because some of you might want to do something different, I'd like to put it under each committee member, the recommendations, and provide
Absolutely.
all those recommendations to you all. Instead.
Very good, thank you.
Now, you have a motion's been made, it's been seconded. Can I call for the question?
Yes, call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, now we're going to go into we had a discussion of item D.
So that's been tabled. Oh, no, D. Okay, so then the scoring part of it, we can also deal with it later, or not now. But we came up with a scoring sheet, and it's on the very, very last page of your pamphlet. So depending, when you're all there. Depending on how many entities bid for this, we have a rating sheet, from 1 to 5, 5 being excellent and 1 being 4. And we came up with some criteria: qualifications and experience, the management team, recruitment sources and approach, record of accomplishments, their rates and expenses, and any references. And so based on the information that is provided, you would grade them individually and score them. Are you all okay with this particular process?
I'd like to make a motion to go accept this process with the condition that you change it from 0 to 10.
Sure.
Motion's been made,
Second.
seconded by Dr. Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, stand at 10. More of a legal question, I guess. All of these submissions by each committee member, will they be confidential submissions versus or public?
No, these are public. There's public,
They're public?
yes. They'd have to make a formal request, open records request.
No, but you're rating the rating.
Oh, the ratings, At this juncture, actually, it would be private until it's actually awarded, then we would be able to release it.
That's my point. I guess my question is, during the process, because I think it's important that it doesn't, one influence not influence the other when you're making your own decisions as what you reach your rating to be. I've just put it out to the committee members. So my past experience has been that in other search committees that I've served.
Wait till we get to the actual candidates.
I know.
That's gonna be another issue.
That's gonna be the fun part.
But in the process of deciding who those candidates are going to be, it's important that we also, you gotta determine, this, it'll help us determine the top candidates, or if all candidates meet the criteria. But you may find yourself in a situation where maybe you will get, the easy ones will be all the zeros, right? But the question will be when you get to the middle, to the borderline issues, and whether we should consider one over the other, et cetera.
I would say that, when we're grading the firms, that we send them into staff with our attorney and let them calculate and bring down a recommendation. This is everybody's vote, and not share it. That way there's no the conflict of interest. It's going straight to them. And that information for the first time combined as a team out here, actually, that day we'll see what the results were.
Correct.
Because if somebody comes, you can still come back and say, well, I still like the second one better than the first one. That's up to the committee itself.
May I make a
Sure,
recommendation?
Victoria.
I know that in previous scoring sheets, and I'm not sure if this is what you want to do, rate it here on your own and then submit them to us. So that there's no conflict of any sort to say,
There's no
well,
discussion.
so-and-so influenced me, so-and-so didn't. And so we would provide a space for you to be able to grade them all here and then submit the information to us. That's my recommendation.
The only thing with that is if it's 3 or 4 or 5, it's a lot of reading that you want to do prior to that. You don't want to sit here and read 2 applications. So we've done in the past, I know in the last time, we read, the committee reads it at their own time and makes the recommendation on paper and submits it to the city staff. They don't have to do it here because you're gonna tie yourself down for 2 hours to read something that you could do at home, grade it at home, and submit it privately to you all.
And that's fine.
So when the meeting comes here, the meeting runs a lot better.
Quicker.
Because, quicker, because we already have just the total on whatever, you don't know how everybody voted.
Right.
The only one that knows is that, we're just getting a total or recommendation. I don't know if you do that or you don't do that. I know we did that with the superintendent, so it was a combined, through everybody.
And
Any
this is only
comments
for
in
the
regards to Mr.
consultants,
Garcia?
correct? This
Right.
is for the
I'm
consultants.
talking about the
Yeah, this is for
consultant.
the
Right now, just the
consultants.
consultant.
This is the firms. We're talking about the firm right here.
Yeah.
The firm is fine, yes.
That's what we're talking about. We're not heading down to the
Come up with a different
candidates.
set of rules for the candidates.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, just a point
There's a
of
question over here with
clarification.
Dr. Garcia had a comment.
So, Mr. Garcia, would you suggest that we simply compile our assessments and submit them, or should there be some time for us to discuss?
No, because in my opinion, if you're gonna evaluate somebody's contract, everybody has their own opinion, so you're evaluating that on what you think. That's my evaluation. I think this firm's better than this firm. I submit it, at the end, it's a combination of everybody on your thoughts, and there's a score that's going to whoever the best firm is, it's gonna show because everybody evaluated it on their own.
Right, 'cause
When you start discussing it, well, maybe let me add on to that. I think everybody doing it individually, submitting it, there's not a conflict of interest
That's
where,
very
I like this
transparent.
person,
Yeah.
vote for it. So I think it's
That's the initial
more
step.
transparency that way.
Lopez?
Mr. Chairman, just a question for legal. What happens if we have the same result as this past go-around? I need to know clarification as to, do we just then choose one and ask for a bid, or what happens
as it's under
if we get to the
50,000.
point where it's the same result?
And that's one of the advantages of going with the formal process, because you may get people over 50,000. If we don't, then you would have to choose one of, any of those that provided anything under 50,000, but you're free to do that at this time.
Yeah, my point, Mr. Chair, is I don't think we want to do this process one more time after that. I think we all need to agree that if it doesn't work this time around, that we choose and we go on, because, yes, we're spending an hour choosing on just how to get the consulting firm. We haven't gotten to the candidates, and
Absolutely.
that's my
May I
worry.
also request something? how would you like this information as far as when we do get them? Would you like it electronically, or would you want them hard copy? Because if we have 12, hopefully, consultants that come in, would you like 12 copies each? Or would you like it, or both? What would you all prefer?
I personally prefer electronically, but I mean, it depends on, I don't know what the
I prefer
capabilities of each
electronic.
committee members
If there's
are.
anyone who doesn't.
Electronic, I prefer electronic.
Electronic.
Okay.
I mean, is there a problem with both?
You save
No,
a
we can
tree.
do both. We would just,
Because sometimes you can respond electronically a lot faster if you're traveling or not, and then some will maybe would prefer to spend some time,
just
We get
allow us to tell us that.
Any issues, anybody getting both electronically and?
Electronic is fine.
So let's do it electronically and printed as well, okay, yes. All right, any further discussion on this item? Good.
I guess, Mr. Chairman, can we make a request, Rosario, can we please pick up our copy and
Of
print?
course, yes, of
And that way
course.
we save on paper and
So-
be more
I wouldn't want
sustainable.
one in print.
No,
I don't want to say.
I guess all those
tree.
that don't want one, for sure.
Unless we can request that of you. How about, Mr. Chairman, is that okay? You know,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. So are we on the last item?
Yes.
Item F. Discussion of possible action on scheduling the regular meeting dates and attendance policy as required by the ordinance. The ordinance, what does the ordinance say?
The ordinance that we were discussing earlier that requires automatic forfeiture if you miss 3 meetings. In addition to that, it requires the committee to set a schedule at this time of regular meeting dates, so that's to avoid any forfeitures.
Okay. I think it's important for everyone, first of all, tell us what dates and times are totally impossible to meet. And everyone's got their own schedules, everybody's got busy schedules. So this meeting is the first meeting, we called it at noon,
Yes.
right? And it is what day is it? Today's a Friday, okay? What does everyone think about Fridays at noon or any other particular date at a particular hour they wish to propose?
I just had a question, Mr. Chairman. So in terms of the work we're going to be doing prior to even reviewing the consulting firms, and I don't know if our schedule might change, because I think the ball's going to start rolling once the firms come in, but between now and then. So can we set our schedule not from now till forever on a fixed day every week? Can we do it between now and the time that the firm comes in?
Why don't we do this? Why don't we schedule the next meeting and allow us time to consider because we're gonna be getting some stuff and then look and consider then at the process of, the formal process of the interviews, and we schedule periodic meetings at that time. But I think it will be important for us to have the first couple of meetings of extensive discussion. And I think that's where we plant the actual, issues that we want, to address in the selection process. And then once we determine that, then we decide how we go and proceed with a standard meeting schedule.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Somebody consider that?
Well, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to express that I've had some comments from some of the public that they feel that noon is not accessible to
Sure.
them. And so I don't know if we might want to consider a time that's a little bit later in the afternoon, so that if people do want to come here and engage in the process, that they have ample opportunity to do so.
Very true. All right, so would prefer, there's an idea there, perhaps we not consider during the day, but consider after hours, is what we're saying, after 5, after 6?
Well, I think maybe 5, like,
Okay,
Midweek, say 6 o'clock, Wednesday, 6 o'clock.
is that better for you? When, 6 o'clock, 6 p.m.?
Another factor is the availability of council chambers, so
There's more
that
possibilities,
we can make it available to more people.
we know that Wednesday, is there any conflicts with Wednesdays at 6 o'clock? In regards to other meetings that may be held in this, you want to hold these meetings here based on public going to be able to participate in the process?
We changed it because we also heard from the community that it was a very small space as far as our committee. Normally, committee meetings are not held here other than P and Z. And so we wanted to make sure that the public was invited, and I think we need to continue having them here for that reason.
Ms. Cabello, most council meetings start at 5:30, is that
Most
correct?
council meetings start, yes, at 5 o'clock with announcements and recognitions, and then the actual meeting at 5:30.
So maybe we could just follow their schedule, so make it easy on the public that it's same times that council meets. I don't know if that, it's
Does
just,
anyone have any problems with starting then and scheduling at 5 o'clock?
I'd prefer 5:30.
5:30.
That way we finish the day at 5 and then we come over here.
I would suggest the next meeting be May 15th, which is a Wednesday at 5:30.
Okay. Well, let's schedule the next meeting for 5:30 next Wednesday at 5:30 in the afternoon.
May 15th.
I'm sorry. My mind is at work right now.
don't worry, we all are. This is all new.
And
The next meeting at 5:30 on May the 15th.
And for the sake of information, one of the things that we're going to talk about is the city manager's job description, correct? And
Yes.
setting of times for future dates.
Correct.
Two items.
That's a
Right.
quick question, that's what, Mr. Strainer, because I know Mr. Puig said that we meet next week with next week to talk about that, and now we're here throwing up, that meeting is when we get the information over there, so we're just gonna wait till that meeting to talk about both, or we're gonna meet next week for your,
We have 1 week, I think, to
That's what
submit.
she
I thought it was a week to submit.
We're
That's what he
submitting,
said.
we're
it's
submitting,
just to submit.
Yes.
to submit.
I would recommend that we try to meet 2 weeks from today on a Wednesday.
Okay.
2 weeks from today, and that way we can discuss some of the other items that we're tabling.
The
We can-
22nd, April 22nd?
That's
Or the
what
17th?
I would, I'd move
I'm
for that.
looking at May, I apologize.
Calendars.
Would that be April
24th.
17th?
April 17th.
It's Good Friday.
April
Oh.
17th?
Well, you said 2 weeks.
On a Wednesday, I said
On a
2 weeks.
Wednesday.
2 weeks, but on a Wednesday.
April-
About their months.
April 17th.
I will be out of town, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to do, because that's right before Easter, correct?
Yeah.
So do you want to do it the 24th?
Yeah, that works for me, 24th.
If I may, for April the 24th, the Municipal Civil Service Commission meets every fourth Wednesday of the month at 5:30. So I know for sure that the Chambers is not available. I don't know about one of the other conference
Big
rooms.
meeting, I forgot about that.
Yes, yes.
You want to
Because
change
I'm
it
the
to
liaison for
Tuesdays?
that.
We could do
Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Tuesday or Thursday?
Tuesday probably is P and Z.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
How about the 23rd, April the 23rd at 5:30?
I will not be available, Mr. Chairman.
The 25th, Mr. Lopez?
25th, yes, and 26th.
Is that
It's
P&Z?
not available.
No, you're not here, Mr. Dueñas.
P and Z.
I will be out of town.
It's not available here.
So,
Really
Mrs.
don't look
Galo,
Thursdays.
what about, Mrs. Galo, what about are you here at all that week of the 15th?
I am.
You are? So what about the 17th, as was previously
I'm
recommended?
out of town.
You're out of town.
He's out of town, yes.
How
May the
about
1st?
18th or the 16th?
Or the 1st?
That's fine.
May the 1st, maybe?
No,
Not that far?
I think no.
Okay.
I'm available the 16th.
The 16th, Mr. Lopez?
I'm out of town, the 15th, 16th, 17th. Return on the 18th. I'm available 19th, but that's Good Friday.
That's
Let's,
Easter
let's,
week.
let's look at the 23rd again if we could. And I know Ms.
That is
Lopez will
Mr.
not be
Dueñas.
able to attend
You're
that
not here
meeting.
that week, right, Mr.
I'm
Dueñas?
out of town 24, 25, 26.
You are or are not, I'm sorry.
Fuera de pueblo.
So the 23rd,
Mr. Chairman.
are people here the
22, 23 is
23rd?
fine for me.
I will not be, I have a board meeting Tuesdays.
Mr. Dueñas, the 23rd?
It's fine for me.
Mr. Lopez?
I will not be here, I have a
Mr.
board
Lopez.
meeting.
So it's just Mr. Lopez who has a conflict with
I'm
the
the only one
23rd.
it's out.
So it's
I think
just
on
Mr.
the
Lopez
23rd.
has a conflict with the 23rd. And, you know,
He could submit his information prior to with his recommendations, if that's the case.
that would be acceptable to me. That be acceptable to you, Mr. Lopez?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
April 23rd.
So let's look at April the 23rd at 5:30 in the afternoon in the city, here in the city council chambers. Okay. And the proper notices will be given out, or are we gonna have, or is that gonna include public, or is that gonna include private?
No, we'll go ahead
No.
and do,
Okay, notices will be given out.
yes.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, we know the topics for that agenda, right?
We will have to, definitely will know everything.
I'm sorry.
How in advance will we receive any information?
Okay, so we'll open bids, no, before that, right?
Oh.
On the consultants? No.
Yeah, on what we submit, what everybody submits.
For the qualifications.
For their qualifications.
For the candidate qualifications.
Okay.
Just so that we can review it before we get here.
Absolutely.
Item C will be brought back at that meeting.
But Mrs. Galo is asking by when can we get everything we've submitted? We've got our homework to do by next Friday.
And we're all going to submit, and then.
So then I would request to ask you for a date for you to submit, if that was the case, so that we can
It was
compile
Friday.
It
everything.
was Friday, it was a week from today.
A week from today was the submission date.
Right.
On any comments they wish to make to the qualifications, any additions they want to include, and they'll be submitted to you. Then in turn, you'll be able to share that with the rest of the committee members as well.
I would like for the information to be submitted to the internal auditor, if that is the case, and we'll go ahead and forward to you her email address.
And why don't you send us by electronic or by notice
Yes.
who you would like for us to submit to who, and then all of us will know that we've done that. Then whatever is received, then will be shared, after that week, submitted back, that information to the committee members. Okay?
And then that week, Mr. Chairman, of April 15th, at some point, Mrs. Cabello, we can all receive the comments to review so that by the time we have our meeting, April 23rd, we've reviewed everything that's been,
That's fine. Yeah, we'll do that.
okay.
And I'd welcome any comments in regards, it's important to have as much dialogue and discussion about this, because the more prepared we come to these meetings and the more informed, I think the faster and the more efficient the meeting would be.
Great.
Okay? Any other questions related to this item? If not, we don't need to go into executive session in regards to this deal.
There's none. We want to make sure we have the option.
Well, I want to thank everyone, pardon me, I want to thank everyone for this first meeting, and I think we definitely have a task at hand, and we look forward to working, and we accept the challenge that the citizens and the city council members, city council has bestowed upon each and every one of us, and I look forward to a very effective process of the selection of our next city manager. Does anyone have any closing remarks?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I would just like to thank all of Ms. Cabello, Ms. Hill, and all staff for the excellent preparation of all these documents. We're new to this, so we just needed a little time to review everything, but it's very apparent, all the hard work you put into it, and so thank you very much for that.
Thank you,
Thank you.
staff. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Comment.
I want to echo those comments as well, and, I like the way this is being done. It's very transparent, it's very well thought out. There are 962 cities in Texas. We're the 10th largest, and we've got a lot of potential, we've got a lot of history, but we have some things to do. And I think that if we pick the right person, we're going to be so much further down the road, so.
Yes.
Absolutely. Anyone else? There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.
Wonderful weekend. Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you.